My conversation with Fred Lambert, the editor-in-chief of Electrek, is coming up next.
Taking over the world, electrifying the world, Editor-in-Cheif.
Welcome to E4Electric, your number one source of unbiased electric car news. If this is your first time here, go ahead and click on that subscribe button. It's free, and that way you won't miss anything moving forward. And of course, I wanted to give a quick shout out to one of my new Patreons, Alfred Freeman. Thank you so much for joining my Patreon community where you can watch me live. And most importantly, thank you so much for supporting my independent YouTube channel. All right, so if you want to join, there's a link in the description of this video. So Fred Lambert, he's the editor-in-chief of Electrek. It's probably one of the biggest, if not the biggest, electric car publications out there. We were test driving Kia Niro EV in Santa Cruz and Monterey area. That was part of the media drive that Kia invited us to, and we were basically paired up to drive. There were a few of them in their fleet, so we're driving this one. And of course, there's a video coming up, and this is a picture I took of him driving. And I got to tell you, one of the few moments where I wasn't crapping my pants, because this guy really knows how to push the car to its limits. So that was a fun day that we spent. So it's just like I said, there will be another video about that. But as you know, Fred was already a guest on my show once. During the we caught up during the Rivian unveiling and during LA Auto Show, and we talked, we're reminiscing about the year 2018 and kind of looking into the future of 2019. But I thought it would be kind of cool now that we are in 2019. There are already quite a few interesting things that are happening. I felt like, yeah, we stopped the car at like one of the cool beach areas and just chatted and picked his brain about what he thinks that's happening already so far, not just with Tesla, but with many other manufacturers, including the Kia Niro EV. So that's the conversation you're just about to see. Before that, of course, real quick, I want to remind you that this video and this channel is sponsored by Evanex, the aftermarket accessories for Tesla. There's a discount code in the description of this video, so go ahead and grab it, and that way you will save yourselves a few bucks. All right, without further ado, here's my conversation with Fred Lambert in Santa Cruz, California. All right, so we've talked about a month ago at the Rivian event in Los Angeles, and we were it was the end of 2018, and we were looking forward to 2019, and well, now we are in 2019, and tell me a little bit about what do you think so far, where this is heading. What are the achievements you would say that we're going to see this year, and what do you think there might be some disappointments and setbacks?
Okay, yeah, we're going to see a few new cars that could be very important for the market, starting with this one, really, the Niro EV, which if Kia can make enough of them, and they're already making some decent volume in Europe, but now hitting the US market in the next months or so, I think it could have a significant impact on the market. That with the Kona EV, which again, I think we discussed that earlier, but I don't think is as good as the Niro. But those two vehicles together are sort of entering a very popular segment that is a crossover and starting to electrify it. So electrifying that segment is very important for the overall EV adoption rate. So that, I think, is going to be a big thing in 2019. Then the Model Y is going to also, Tesla's Model Y is going to enter that segment on the higher end, a little bit more premium. I think that also is going to have an impact. Though you said 2019, I think the Model Y is going to be unveiled in 2019, not on the market in 2019. But I think just opening the reservation, which normally comes with unveiling the vehicle, just that alone is gonna give a boost to automakers, to a kick in the butt for the automakers to try to electrify their own vehicle in that segment as fast as possible, because it's becoming an important segment to your profit centers if you're an automaker. So that's one of the coolest trends, I think, of 2019. Along, of course, I think we cannot always, we can never pass the Model 3, because it's going to be the biggest, again, vehicle program in the world in 2019. So there's going to be a lot of volume. There's going to be, I think, over 300,000 units that Tesla is aiming to deliver the Model 3 in 2019. So we're still going to have to keep an eye on that program, because it's just the biggest one. In terms of disappointment, I mean, every year is the best year for AV, so it's hard to really find any disappointments. If they are, I think it's going to be automakers not making just enough of great vehicle programs. They come out starting with, again, we're coming back to the Nero EV. We've been testing it for a few days. It's a great vehicle. Just how many of them are they going to be able to make and deliver here in the U.S. and other markets? If there's something to be disappointed about, I think it's going to be that the demand's going to outpace production in the EV market by a lot again in 2019.
So are you saying that it's kind of up to us, the community and people who are shopping for new cars, to prove to this legacy manufacturer saying, hey, we want these cars, make more of them, make less of the gas versions of it?
I think we have already been doing that. We've seen demand outpace production for many vehicle programs for years now, and I think we're going to keep doing that 2019 in a big way with those vehicle programs, with still the Model 3 and a few other vehicle programs that are coming out, like the Porsche Taycan is going to also outpace production. Demand's going to outpace production, though they are talking about making like 40,000 per year, which that could be a little bit harder, but that might be like a slow ramp up or something. So it's supposed to come out at the end of the year. I think it's going to be a production constraint as well. The e-tron could be an interesting one too on that front. We've seen a lot of reservation. I'm not entirely sure what's the production that they are aiming for.
They're not telling us. I'm a reservation holder, and they're not telling us.
They're not telling us, right? But I don't think they are seeing that car as the compliance car, though. So it's going to be for sale worldwide, across all states. So I feel like they're going to try to match production with demand. So in that case, you're right. We should show them that we want those cars.
So obviously we agree that Tesla is going to continue being the king and leading the pack by a lot still this year. But who do you think is there one manufacturer, maybe one particular model that you think will kind of start getting up there and start giving Tesla a bit of a competition? I mean, a lot of people are saying Taycan might be the first real competitor to Model S. I mean, Mercedes and Audi is now rolling out their SUVs. Do you think there will be real competition, or do you think Tesla is still kind of way far ahead of everybody?
That's a good question. The Taycan, in my opinion, is probably, yes, the closest to be a real competitor, and not just to Tesla itself, but it's actually pushing EVs further, at least on the charging level. Like, it's going to have a charge rate that anything we know on the market right now in terms of passenger vehicles. So that alone is great. Like, kudos to Porsche. Now they've backtracked a few things that they said about the rest of the charging problem, which is of course the infrastructure. They said that they're going to have their own network in the U.S. and in North America in general, and now it looks like they're just partnering with Electrify America instead. So that, I think, it's a step back for them. I would have liked to see another automaker go with their own charging network like Tesla did, which it was crazy successful. So why not do the same? Like, you copy the system that works, and Tesla worked very well. And
well, so sorry, but I mean, don't you think that it may be at some point kind of unreal to, or maybe unpractical for every manufacturer to have their own charging network? Because essentially we're going to have 20, 30 manufacturers with their own networks. Doesn't Electrify America or just other independent or third-party charging solutions would make more sense?
Yeah, but Porsche, when they were saying that they were making their own network, they were still making a CCS combo, so it was a standard that was going to be available to any other automakers too. I just think to make their own vehicles program successful, by having their own network, they could facilitate the whole entire customer experience at the station, like Tesla did with the supercharger, which is just completely seamless. You just arrive, you plug, you leave, that's it. So I would have liked to see them do that. Now they're talking about making something similar with Electrify America on the back end. I would like to see that happen. It's still a wait and see situation, but yeah, it's a fair point for sure.
So, you bring up a good point, because, I mean, all these cars are great, right? But do you think so, the infrastructure for Tesla is obviously superchargers and destination chargers. Do you think the infrastructure for the rest of the electric cars is starting to get up there and keeping up with what we're seeing with all the new models coming out? Electrify America in the United States, Ionity in Europe, leading the way. Do you think the infrastructure is growing fast enough, or do you think that's going to be a concern as well?
I never think it's going fast enough. I never think that. I always want it to be faster. And no, it's catch. You could say it's catching up, because maybe Tesla slowed down a little bit their own effort. presumably because they're about to launch the V2 supercharger, and then they're gonna ramp up again after that. But right now, I mean, this car has a 100 kilowatt capacity, which is impressive. It's there's only a few cars now on the market that come close to Tesla in terms of charge rate. But if you want to use that car to go down, go down all the way to Phoenix, for example, try to go down to Phoenix and use 100 kilowatt supercharger to get there. Good luck. It's going to be a hard time. There's not that many of them. You're going to be stuck at a bunch of 50 kilowatt station, and there's even a few stretch that you might got it closed, that they're not going to be any station on the most optimal route. Even though that thing is pretty efficient and has 240, almost 240 miles EPA ratings, it's not an ideal vehicle for road trips still. Tesla has everybody beaten again on that front.
And which brings us to really this car, because we're here because we are at the Kia Media Drive for their U.S. launch. Kia Niro EV, Hyundai Kona EV, Nissan Leaf. Do you think this is finally the year where a really affordable, even though people think that cars in their 30s maybe not as affordable, but after the incentives it's really around 30. Do you think this is finally the year of the affordable electric car that can appeal to bigger masses? Because do you think that all of the conversations about luxury cars are kind of going to be on the side where people will really start to get excited cars like this?
Yeah, I mean, I think the key words in what you just said was appealing. That appeals to masses, because they've been vehicle at that prices before. The Nissan Leaf started at 29,000 for years now. It's just it wasn't as appealing as the new version is, though the price of the new version is a bit more expensive with the bigger battery pack. Though it's going to be competitive with that thing here. Yeah, for sure. I think if they were to make just a little bit more, and they spread them out to the dealership and then actually on the lot and everything, I think it's going to be like it would have been the mass market year for electric vehicle, because there's some restriction with the Kona only being in California right now. This a little bit wider approach. The Leaf is coming out later this year for the bigger version. And I'm not declaring this year the year of the mass EV, though you also have to take into account Tesla probably going to launch the standard battery pack in a few months, so that's going to help too. So yeah, let's see, the second half of 2019 might be the year of the mass market appealing electric vehicle.
What do you think is the number one thing that the manufacturers have to get right in order to appeal to the mass market?
Well, to appeal to the mass market, they have been able to do that for years. I mean, they've been making great gas-powered cars for years now. So there's clearly a way to make an appealing electric vehicle. Tesla did it for years. Now they're starting to do it with those cars here. With the Niro EV, I think is a great vehicle. I think this the mass market part that they have difficult. They never greenlit a full wide scale electric vehicle program. They just don't. They cap them at like 5,000 units per month or something like that, the production, which is not normal for a company of that size. So I think they need to figure out a way to secure large quantities of batteries and ramp up the production of the battery packs too, and just make more of them and make them full-fledged vehicle program that they try to sell after that.
So this is going to be a pretty exciting year for all of us. Would that be the agreement?
Yeah, for sure. Every year is the next best year for EVs for sure. But I think the next one, 2020, is going to be a huge year for EV. Like, if this one is the biggest yet, but I think 2020 is going to be maybe 4 times bigger than this year. While this year was like twice as big as last year for EVs. I think that's fair.
So both of us will get to keep our jobs.
Yeah. Oh, it's exponential growth in the EV market for everyone, for sure.
All right, that's good to know that both of us are going to be keeping our jobs for a while, because these jobs are really, really fun, I have to say, and media drives like that are obviously fun. And the next one I'm going to is for the Audi e-tron in Spain, and obviously there will be videos from there. Of course, if you have never stumbled upon Electrek, you can go to electrek.co, and that is pretty much one of the best sources to hear about all kinds of news about electric cars, but they also do stuff about like electric bikes and motorcycles, electric scooters and stuff like that. I think one of the few publications who kind of cover that very, very thoroughly. So definitely check that out. I'm sure we'll do one or two more this year with Fred. He's extremely knowledgeable about everything that's going on. It's always a pleasure to talk to him. All right, guys, let me know what you think in the comment section of this video. As always, looking forward to that. Other than that, see you guys next time, and remember to stay charged.